In this video, I'm going to talk about my process for building a sealed deck and some specific advice to maximize your wins in Brothers War. Let's get to it. First thing you want to do is organize your cards by color and casting cost. If you're on Arena, that's obviously done for you. Next thing I do is pull in all the cards I would be happy to play. They can range from common through rare, but every good playable should be set aside. If this is your first time with the set, I would recommend at least understanding what the best commons likely are and what the overarching themes for each color pair are. I have two videos I posted recently that cover exactly that. Links are in the description. Now that I've set aside all the cards I'd be happy to play, I'm looking at two things. First, where is my power? It's hard for good aggro decks to come together in sealed, and decks are less synergistic overall. The result of that is games are roughly a turn or two slower versus draft. Knowing games tend to go long, I will have time to find my expensive spells and my bombs. Play as many of them as you reasonably can. Next, I want to see where my premium removal is. You will face your opponent's bombs, and there are more of them in sealed since each player is guaranteed at least 6 rares, plus the additional artifact slot in every pack that can also contain rares. In my experience so far, many of the sealed games I've played have come down to the rares. Make sure you're prepared to deal with them. Next, you want to see what cards can provide fuel in the late game. Expensive card draw spells that you might not play in draft, and repeatable mana sinks like Urza and Takesha's Dig Site get better in sealed since you have more time to get value from them. Now that you have an idea of the cards that you really should be playing, a main color or two should be making itself clear. There isn't much mana fixing in Brothers War, so odds are you will want to end up in a 2-color deck. Splashing a single pip off-color bomb may be worth it, but make sure your mana can support it without playing more than 1 or 2 basic lands at most. Now that we've decided on our colors that have the most bombs, removal, and late game fuel, we want to finish filling out our deck. A good rule of thumb in sealed is just to play your good cards. Who would have thought? Synergy can definitely break ties, but you shouldn't try to force a synergistic deck or be disappointed if you don't necessarily have one. This isn't draft and they don't come together as often. Simply play as many of your good cards as you can. Now at this point, we should have it narrowed down and need to only make a few more cuts. Another tiebreaker when deciding what your last few cuts should be is your mana curve. You can push your curve slightly higher, but make sure you have lots of early plays to get on board quickly. So for Brothers War specifically, I mentioned that there isn't much mana fixing, especially outside of green, so just be careful with your splashes. The prototype creatures are awesome, play them if you can. It's really nice to be able to fit a ton more expensive creatures in your deck and still be able to cast them on curve if you need something to do on turn 4, let's say. And to that note, main deck disenchant, it is very, very good in this set.